Hello, 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 and welcome to the Women's Rugby Pod, episode 187. And the champ's back. The Grand Slam champion, Sadia Kabeya, is back. Berner's here as well. I feel complete. Sadia Kabeya, welcome back. Huge congratulations on a Grand Slam. How the devil are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Just come back from a little holiday after the Six Nations, so feeling well rested and ready to get into the week. But I'm good. Obviously, really positive tournament. Can't complain. Getting the Grand Slam. So yeah, feeling good.
We'll get into the Grand Slam and everything around it. I presume the celebrations were good and therefore the holiday welcome. How good were the celebrations and where did you go off on holiday, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, the celebrations are really good, actually. We just ended up staying at the hotel because we had a really early flight and all the friends and family were staying at the hotel too. So most of the celebrations were, well, as far as I'm aware, was stayed at the hotel. And there was a lovely pool on the rooftop, so there was a bit of a pool party. And then I went to Cyprus to Paphos with Alex Matthews on Tuesday. So just a five-day holiday, get some sun. Yeah.
Nice little back rowers trip away. And how have you been, Bernie? You've had a busy old weekend as well. What you've been celebrating? What have you been celebrating?
I don't know if you can hear. I had Zoe Aldcroft's hen do, which was really good fun, but I definitely need another week of holiday now.
And you got yourself away as well, didn't you, for a few days before Zoe's hen do?
Yeah, I went to Seville. Yeah, me and Mackenzie went, and it was really nice actually. And Ella Viavas joined us as well for a day. So, yeah, we went around the sites and saw the oranges, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's a stunning place, isn't it? And I'm not one to correct, but Sevilla, I believe.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Come on now. Did you go to that huge park in the middle? A huge park with the most beautiful buildings. I forget the name of it. But it's a stunning city, isn't it?
Yeah, it's honestly beautiful. Like, it's one of my favorite places I've ever been. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Just orange trees everywhere. You're sitting having a drink underneath an orange tree in the middle of the city. It's quite mad, and the way they pick them is quite cool as well. If you haven't ever seen that, look that up on the internet. That'll get you down a rabbit hole. I digress. Let's get into this Six Nations chat. I want to poke a little bit more about Zoe Aldcroft's Hendy, but I don't think you're going to give me any more information. Come on, give us one tiny little tale. Did you wear all West City outfits? Just give one little nugget.
Yeah, no. Okay, the first day it was cowboy themed, and Zoe was in a white outfit, and we were in a black outfit, and that was really funny. And yeah, no, it was just really good fun. I don't have any silly stories or anything to say, but no, it was a really good crack. It's definitely something I loved, and I think all the girls really loved and enjoyed it. But yeah, I think some people will still have ropey heads today.
Good. Disappointed if you didn't. She's a well-liked lady, isn't she? Record crowds across the nations for this Six Nations. More media attention, I think. I don't know if you felt that, Sadia. Certainly, Sarah Bern's been getting herself around the media quite rightly so during the Six Nations. But what was it like over in France? Let's deal with the Grand Slam game, because that was always going to be your biggest challenge. And it is England's biggest challenge, isn't it? Well, one game of 80 minutes per season or per tournament is about all you need to prepare for. How tough was it, and how vociferous were the crowd?
Yeah, no, I think the crowd was as expected. I think France, they always have quite a hostile crowd and environment. And after our extremely long walk from the changing rooms to the pitch, we were greeted with lots of boos, which for me, I just find so funny. Well, not... Do I find it funny? I don't know. I just can't help but laugh. So I walked out onto the pitch just cracking up at the crowd. But I think obviously some of the girls really relish in that kind of hostile environment. And I think in terms of the game, I think it was as expected. I think we always, like, the way we prepared and we've grown throughout the tournament, we knew we were going to come out the blocks like hard and get a few tries on board. But with France, you can't really rule them out at any point in the game. And like we saw for their first try for the backs, like they've got threats everywhere. And then that second half was literally just a game of who can make the hardest tackles and keep hold of the ball until someone finally broke and made a score, which for me, I like, can't complain about can't complain about that. I was in my element during that part. But yeah, I think we were not lucky, but it was good that we got 2-3 tries ahead in the beginning, because that second half was definitely more of an arm wrestle in it. So yeah, but really enjoyed it, and I think you kind of could see by the end of the game wasn't we didn't feel like it was our best performance when the final whistle went, and there wasn't huge celebrations on the pitch. But I think after we kind of reflected on the tournament and reflecting on obviously getting the Grand Slam, yeah, we've got to be really happy with it.
Yeah, I think watching it being the com, like doing the com stuff in it, like statistically, France should have won that game. Like they had made like the most carries, they made the most line breaks, they made the most defenders, but they gave the ball back like 30 times or something ridiculous. And that's where I think if France can like stop those silly errors, I think it will actually be like a hell of a battle, because that they statistically they beat England in all those areas, and I've been England's biggest fan go through this whole Six Nations, and I was sat there thinking, I don't know what to do now, because I'm like, but to be fair, England's defense was immense. Like the tackles that Meg, Tatty, all the girls putting in, God, just smashed them backwards. It was amazing to watch. It was a really exciting game to watch. And at halftime, I don't know if you know, but the crowd were practicing their boos and cheers. And we all stood there like, what is going on? So yeah, it is hostile.
In terms of the sort of game plan, and much has been made of rediscovering, opening. Not quite sure the right word, but because I think England always had the potential to do it, and whether it's pressure or coaches or situation or whatever, England did tighten up their game, and the one shot one kill, metaphorically, Marley's been talking a lot about that as well. Is that very, very evident? Yeah, I'm just looking at the statistics. 2 years ago you scored 45 tries, conceded 4. Last year scored 45, conceded 7. This year scored 44, which one down, obviously, conceded 5. But from the outside, I don't know if you agree, Berner, but a real openness to try and attack. What have been the messages, and were those very consistent even against France, where you're not going to potentially get the control of the ball as much as you did in the previous rounds?
The messages throughout the games were very consistent in terms of our game plan. A lot of it was around being direct, and like you said, we've had a change in how we want to play and how we've been training. We kind of wanted to open up threats across the whole pitch, and you've seen that a lot more of us unlocking the back line, and when it came to France, we were also still able to do the grunt work for our forwards and score for our mauls. So having huge strengths everywhere and not just being a one-trick pony, say. But yeah, I think the messages were very, very similar each game. A huge one just being to be direct in attack, and I think a lot of the emphasis was on our goal zone conversion. We know we can keep the ball. Our goal zone conversion, and that's when we get into the 22, actually scoring points once we get into there. Being able to convert those scores. But yeah, I think a lot of it for us this tournament was seeing how we can click with this new style of play, and I think it really came across the different games. You saw loads and loads of different tries, but yeah, when it came to France, it was all about that that upfront work, and I think the forwards shone a bit more in that game.
How impressed were you, Berner? We were waxing lyrical, weren't we, against Ireland? with a cricket score, and we probably sort of swept away with the day and whatever. Yeah, Ireland did some reasonable things, but yeah, missed a lot of tackles. How impressed were you when that opposition like France came to town, and England sticking to their guns, and as Sadia saying that game plan?
Yeah, really impressed. I think on games like that, when you have some really good like defenders from the back, so France have really good like backs defenders, New Zealand have really good backs defenders. It's harder, and forwards defenders, to be fair. When England are direct and punching through like they were against Ireland, Ireland have to put players in there to defend that middle bit of the pitch, which means that those spaces open up for the likes of Meg, Ellie, Jess to just little lift from Tat, and that they're going through those lines. I think when you play a team like France, their actual first phase tackles are hard. They're hard to break down. So it takes a lot of time to be direct, keep being punchy, but they're also quite fit, so they have the ability to get back and still defend those wider channels. So that's when it comes down to it, is actually England's set piece. Again, it got moaned about in the World Cup, but it's a super strength of England's. Like their scrum, their line out is a high functioning set piece, and that's what it will come down to against teams like France, like New Zealand, that are pretty much matched across the board. Is how do we break them down? And England did a really good job. Those carries straight through the middle, little tips from like Hannah Bottomham to Maud Muir score. Those were happening all over the place. So yeah, I think it's really impressive to see that we went back to our set piece, but those little intricate plays, those little tips, those little changing the points of pressure were still really prevalent, and that's how we got a lot of our tries in that first half. So yeah, it's really nice to see and really impressive. But I agree with Sars, like watching all the girls after the game, they all looked a little bit like disheartened, a little bit. I don't know why, and it's not because they didn't win, it's because they want to play how it looked against Ireland. They want to play that kind of game every single game, and they just have such high expectations. But yeah, I think they were brilliant, and the defensive effort in that second half was outstanding.
Yeah, it was. We built up being more and more impressed first couple of rounds, plenty mistakes, and we had Sunja, and she said, "No, it'll come," and boom, it came. And possibly that Ireland game has been more useful than possibly realised the fact that, with all respect, almost like a training run to say, "Oh, actually, we can do this on the international stage," and give you the confidence to do it. But when you're changing, not possibly changing mindset, but as you say, opening up, Sadia, how does that manifest itself in everything you do into camp? Is it the way that the management are getting you to bond, to come out to train, the way you get into training, the bits and pieces you do before training? How has that sort of opened up to this excellent passing game which we're seeing now?
Yeah, there's been a huge emphasis on bond and team bond and that relationship off pitch. I think Mitch has come in and he's been really, strong with that. I think he really sees the benefit on having a good relationship off pitch. So whether that's, having meals out or having a darts night or having like silly little games or silly little team bonding stuff in the session, he's really, really keen on that. And then we also had loads of meetings coming into camp of, we knew we were going to have this new structure that we're playing, and we want to utilize all the time we have in camp on pitch. So we had a lot of meetings off outside of camp on Zoom, getting up to speed. So when we came into camp, we could hit the ground running. I think that was really key for us coming into camp with this new structure, because as we saw with the games, each game it got better and better. But I think without that coming in before, it would have been, a bit, maybe taking a bit longer to click. But yeah, I think a lot of it, one of the big changes has been how we bonded, and a lot that's with the staff and the players too. And I think that's really helped us in terms of learning this new play, because you feel open enough to have these conversations with staff when things are not going well, or when things are going well, being able to have that kind of praise. But Mitch has been really great. He's quite a character, and a lot of our meetings in camp, he always finds some way to get a costume in there or get some kind of acting in there, which is always very, very entertaining. But yeah, I think that's been one of the key changes is that off-field stuff.
What's been his best costume so far?
I cannot disclose. I cannot disclose.
Oh, no.
But yeah, he has got some great costumes.
Well, it leads me on. We can talk about. I could talk about this stuff all day long. He got really emotional post match. And I know for a fact that they are far more emotionally driven environments, women's rugby's environments or camps programs than the men's, certainly. But I've been surprised at just how sort of he's thrown himself into it. And as you say, with little costumes or sort of being caught dancing on somebody's sort of social media and a big smile and the mask at his birthday. And obviously, there were really, really genuine tears, really, really sort of cut up. He's thrown himself into this, hasn't he? And do you think he's giving the Red Roses the edge that ultimately that they need to go on further next year?
Yeah, I think, he's been so great. One of his huge things is taking the handbrake off, and I think that's on pitch and off pitch. And I think he really, really cares. Like, he cares about not just, how the team are doing on the pitch, but he also cares about the girls individually. And I've always said it since he first came in, he likes to get to know the players one to one. He's not a coach. He sits back in a chair and watches things happen. He's very much involved, in all aspects. He does the training stuff. He does the small meetings. And he's in, we have multiple meetings in camp with like defense, attack, and leadership groups, and he's in all of those meetings. He likes to be really, really present. So I think that kind of showed in that interview when he got emotional, because he really is invested, and he feels it with us. When we haven't had a great game or we're still building, but he's someone who stays really, really positive. So I think when the girls are maybe a bit not that over the moon about the result or could do better, he always throughout the tournament found the positives in that. And I think when it came to the final, when us getting that final win, I think he was just really proud. So I think he is going to be really good for us going forward, and I think he can really take us to that next level. And I think, like you said, women's rugby is a bit more emotional, a bit more emotionally invested, and I think he's really finding that right balance to be able to connect with the girls too.
It's great to hear. I want to go on, but there were a lot of journalists quite skeptical. Those who've sort of been around a while and have tracked John's, Mitch's progress through the years and what have you. I personally think he would have learned a huge amount looking on at Wayne Smith and the utter joy that Wayne clearly got with working with the Blackbirds. And I think that sort of possibly opened his eyes up. But I'm absolutely delighted to hear that, he's making a real difference inside the camp and quite clearly very invested. So it's excellent news for England rugby fans, which there are plenty, and bad news for the rest of the world. Great news, Sarah Bern, for those England fans, because on the 7th of September, England take on France at Kingsholm, and on the 14th of September, take on New Zealand at HQ. Little targets for you there?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't want my first game back to be against France or New Zealand. It's quite daunting after, I don't know, probably be 8 months out by then. So, if I do have the chance to play anyone before, let me know. But no, I'd love to be back and love to, have the opportunity to play against France and New Zealand. Just, got to get back into the mix and, put my hand up. But yeah, no, I think that'll be a great game. I actually think we'll have a really good crowd for that New Zealand game at Twickenham. I think we could really push to hopefully nearly get that sold out, because that's going to be hell of a game. People want to watch that. Everyone wants to see that historic battle of England versus New Zealand, and we don't get to play them a lot. So hopefully we'll get some really, really good crowds and some great entertainment around that game. And as well, the France game obviously is always a great game, and Kingsholm as well. Nice little local game for me.
Yeah, I think the last time that New Zealand played England was somewhere like 12 years ago at Twickenham.
Yeah.
I do believe that Catherine Spencer good old Spence scored a try, if I remember correctly. It wasn't a very nice day. Anyway, that's exciting stuff. But Berner, I've been reflecting through Sadia, and you can say, and sort of reflecting back to that Ireland game, if we may. For the England players, especially now, and Ireland have announced on that 14th of September that they're playing Australia at the Kingspan as well. It's just the norm now, this kind of stuff, isn't it? And I'm not saying getting a bit blasé, but is it still really special to turn up to Twickenham and do that walk, and then 50 odd thousand people cheering you on as you race in 478 tries against Ireland?
I think for me it's still really special, and I don't think that novelty is going to wear off for a while, and I hope it doesn't. You know, with the women's game, I think we're like so connected with our fans and the like diversity in our fans. It's so nice to see coming to these games, you know, having families there, your young kids, and you know, all these people coming to watch us. I think that novelty doesn't really wear off, and you know, this year being at playing Ireland and Twickenham, you know, felt exactly the same as last year, being on the coach, you know, seeing all the fans coming in. And I was sitting on the coach and I was like, can they see us? Because they're all waving in. And I'm like sat there just staring at them, like, no, not waving back. And I'm like, yeah, they can see us. Like, oh, let me put them away. But yeah, it's amazing. And hopefully it only grows. And like Berner says, for that New Zealand England game at Twickenham in September, we're obviously aiming to, you know, sell that out or get close to selling that out. And that would be, you know, crazy for all of us girls to experience that, because we're all experiencing it at the same time. You know, for us, it's all new. Like, when we played against France last year, that was the first time we'd all experienced that together. So I think, yeah, for us, I very much doubt that's going to wear off. And I don't think there's going to be an element of it wearing off, because I think as a team, we are so grateful for those opportunities, you know, each and every time they come. So, yeah, I think it's just something, you know, to get used to, but also to just stay really present in the moment with every time we get to experience that.
That connection with the fans is absolutely fundamental. I think the men's game has lost that connection somewhat, and it's absolutely, my very, very, very humble opinion, absolutely crucial. You keep that connection with the fans. It is absolutely crucial. Let's look at Ireland then. Both of you, what do you start, Berner? And then you can take us into you know, playing against them, Sadia. Just to the marks out of 10, and can you see the trajectory that they're on? They will be absolutely delighted to have secured a World Cup spot, finishing third. But you can see the influence that Scott Bemand is making with it in the ladies in green. Yeah,
and I said previously, like, I think for me, he's given them a game plan. He's given them a structure. It's not just about battling through people. It's about, okay, how do you win games? Scott is a very territory-based man. Let's get into the right spaces, then let's move forward. So I think what they've got is this really good structure. They've got some really good players together. And I think he's doing a really good job. I think, like we said, the Red Roses is a different beast. You cannot deny that. They absolutely played amazingly against Ireland. But I think for Ireland, to go from not even being in the World Cup to being in WXV3 to then being in WXV1 and having a World Cup place, now that is absolutely insane, and fair play to those guys, because that is incredible. So I'm excited to see where they go, and how do they build on top of this, and how do they find WXV1 leading into that. It's going to be an exciting time for them. I wish them all the best, because you know, they did so well this Six Nations.
Sorry, I suppose it's sort of it's difficult at 88-10 to give a full analysis of them, but you would have done your research ahead of that game. But possibly compared to last year or previous years, just so much as better as this Ireland side.
Yeah, I think we've seen it. You know, game to game, Ireland have really gone strength to strength for the Six Nations, and I think they're one of those teams who, similar to Italy in the past couple of years, you can really see their progress. And I think for us coming into the Ireland game, we were very much aware of that. And we were aware of, you know, the threat that they had. And, you know, some of the key players they had, you know, Aoife Wafer being really, really key to them and someone who's been shining in the tournament. And, different players in there who have been getting them great go forward. And I think, it's those, small players and obviously changes in their coaching team, which I think has really helped them develop. But yeah, definitely you can see, them only going up right now.
We are back into the club duty at the weekend. Have you caught up with any of the Scotland players yet, Sadia? I mean, we're just Tuesday morning recording this, but I suspect they'll be very, very disappointed. The doc, Rachel Malcolm, was very, very focused, as was Brian Easton, about securing that World Cup spot, finishing in third. I know you 46 points on them to no reply, but again, some record crowds. They won away in Italy, didn't they, for the first time, and gave France a really good run. What did you make of Scotland when you played against them?
Yeah, I think similar to Ireland, really. I mean, they've been in a better position in the past years, but I think, they had that really tight score against France, and I think lots of people would say they could definitely have beat France in that game. They had many opportunities to do it, and they've been stringing loads of phases together. But I think for Scotland, that was their main thing, is keeping a hold of that ball and actually being able to go through the phases. And when we played them, obviously in terrible conditions in that first half, it really was a game of who could hold on to the ball, the most.
You
and
weren't laughing as you were walking onto the field for that one, were you? Like
no, I was not. No. I was not impressed during the anthems when it was hailing down on me. I can tell you that. But God, it feels like ages ago since we played Scotland. But yeah, I think
2 minutes later it was sunny.
Honestly, in the second half it was sunny, and then I came off. I thought, great, yeah, I love that. I'll play in the rain.
The year before when we played there, we turned up and it was like 40 degrees and we all had to have cold towels on us and ice buckets, and we were like, what, we're in Edinburgh, what's going on? So yeah, mental.
No, literally, the weather in Edinburgh, great. You're always guaranteed a lovely experience up there, whether it's hailing or really sunny. But yeah, I think they've really been going from strength to strength in Scotland, and they've had a really frustrating tournament. Yesterday we were in Lightning for a little connection evening, and I think a lot of them were saying how they're quite frustrated with their tournament, like you said, Johnny. The games they did win, they won kind of by the skin of their teeth, and then they had games where they should have won, and performed to a standard where they were really proud of. And if it was last year, they would have taken it, but this year they're kind of holding themselves to a bit of a higher standard. So yeah, I think a bit disappointed for them, but I can definitely see the leaps and bounds they come on this year, and I think they have. Well, from speaking to the girls, they have acknowledged that, but it's just as you get better, you always expect more from yourself.
I'm beginning to use, not that they said that they haven't before, but they've been known as a tough, uncompromising, very defensive, physical team. But when you got the likes of Corinne Grant and Emma Orr and Meryl Smith now coming to the fore, Chloe Rowley, you want to use these guys, and there has been a shift, Berner, for me into that, trying to use those players a little bit more and get them onto the ball somewhat more.
Yeah, how they're playing. The first few rounds of the tournament, they played brilliantly. They were using against Wales. They used that counter attack that they knew they were going to get from Shaky George, and they played the pitch really well. You had all your backs firing in all cylinders. I think as we went further into the tournament, they will probably be a little bit more disappointed within how that line-out functioned. I think that probably for them is an area where if that just tightened up a little bit, they probably would have been able to have that more of that front foot ball and use their backs and get on the front foot a little bit more. It's really difficult when you're struggling to win your set piece to actually get a foothold in the game, because that's the bit that you launch off of. That's what generates that momentum. So hopefully, I think moving forward, that might be an area that they want to just brush up on. But like you said, they were brilliant. The first few games, I was there, and I had to forget I was an England player because I was saying how well Scotland were playing. And I do really feel for them because I did think, like, fair play to Ireland, but I did think that Scotland would get that third place just because of how they built into the tournament. So I do really feel for them. But it's also, again, really exciting. Like, they've got so many good players. They're just going to keep building again this year. And like, I'm very hopeful that they'll get a place within that World Cup. I think if they just keep going what they're doing and keep trying to work together, I think they'll definitely get there.
Yeah, I think a real strength in depth is coming for them as well. You just briefly touched on Wales there. Anyone had any chats to sort of Wales players going back into sort of club colours and whatever? Where are Wales at, and where should they be? I mean, look, a more crucial win in the Six Nations, I'm not sure we've seen for a very long time, but the utter emotion, and as I said on the pod last week with Sarah and with Ali Donnelly, our team of the tournament, my favourite moment of the Six Nations, the players swamping Jan Cunningham as he's having a TV interview. Just, what the sport is all about, and if there's ever sort of any confirmation the players and backing of their coach, it was right there. But where are Wales? Where should they be? And what are the first things to fix on the field? Let's keep it there.
I think for Wales coming into this tournament, I think, I'm sure the players, as a fan, someone viewing them, I think, their performance has been really disappointing, and not where we thought they would be. From playing Wales, we kind of know how they play. Cleakey's a really key person for them, and I think one of their maybe only key linchpins in the squad. And I think one of the things for Wales going forward would be finding that depth across the pitch, through set piece. Actually, take that back. Cleakey and their forwards. I think when we come against Wales, we're always talking about Alex Callender, we're always talking about George Evans, we're always talking about these big ball carriers, and then we're always speaking about Cleakey. And I think that's where they get caught, because it's quite easy to analyze that and kind of shut those threats down when there isn't much outside of that. And I think that kind of really came to fruition in this tournament. I think teams were able to really go for these strengths and shut them down, and Wales aren't really able to produce much more. Although saying that, I think there was a few games, especially actually that the last game they played, the Wales Ireland game, Wales Italy.
Yeah.
Wales Italy. It was so frustrating to watch, because Wales, they were playing really well, and they kept a lot of the ball, and I think it was probably one of the best games they played, and the result probably should have been way more in their favour if you were watching that game. And I think that's kind of been actually where they have played well, that's been the kind of story of their tournament, where it hasn't come to fruition on the pitch. It hasn't translated into points. So I think a lot of things across the field for Wales, but yeah, really, really glad for them getting that final win. And I think it kind of showed, with the reactions of the squad and their coaching team, how much it means to them. And I think, across the Six Nations teams, we know what Wales can do. So to see them finally actually get that win, it was really good to see. But yeah, a lot to focus on and work on for them going forward. But a very different tournament to what I think everyone expected to see.
Just looking at Wales and looking at their stats again, they shouldn't have had that many losses. They should have come away with something a bit more. Like, I think just for me watching it, like Sarah said, as a fan, Wales need to ask more of the opposition. They need to be a little bit more elusive. Who are they hitting? Who's going to get the ball? I think that's more what it is. Like as I said, they can be sometimes easy to either have brilliant ball carriers and they have a brilliant 10. And it's just how do they link up everyone together so that oppositions are a bit like, oh, is she going to get the ball? Do I have to tackle her? Like a little bit more asking questions, making them make decisions, and then they'll find those spaces to put the likes of Jazz Joyce through, Alicia Butchers through. So I think hopefully, that would be something that they work on and they rebuild and come together. They're a super passionate side. So I have no doubt that they'll come back in the next game, beating their chest and ready to go again. So I'm really happy they got that last win, because that's probably just what they needed after that little losing streak that they had.
And we'll never know, will we? And again, probably we might see with Ireland, getting on a losing streak on WXV1, playing against the best teams in the world. What that does for performance and confidence and that kind of stuff. But they're not far away, Wales. I don't think wholesale changes are required. And that Wales game, Sards, time we got to be the Red Roses captain. How was that?
Yes. No, it was a really good experience for me. Not something that I'd seen probably ever in my career, let alone this early on. I'd been put into the leadership group since pre-season, which has been really good for me, being surrounded by a lot of girls who I kind of look to lead me, and learning from that kind of group as well. Going into Wales, I'd been told that you're going to go to captain when Marley comes off. Actually, previously, there was already a plan against Italy. However, Italy did not go to plan with our cards, etc. So I kind of got the week off to prepare even more going into Wales. And kind of Mitch, he was really, really calm about it. And he kind of just said, like, you don't need to do anything different, which for me, I think was huge, because I think it's quite easy going into that captaincy role, or even just any leadership role, is to try and fit a mold, or try and fit something that people think you have to be. So yeah, for me it was really exciting. I think when Marley actually did go off, I didn't really think about it until we kind of started going under the pump a bit, giving penny after penny away, and then my head I was thinking, yeah, there's probably something here. I should probably say say something or do something, but yeah, it was good. And I think the girls around me have been really good in supporting that. With England, there's leaders across the pitch, and it's not all down to one voice. So yeah, it was really actually quite comfortable and easy going into that position, and hopefully in the future only get a chance to grow that. But yeah, definitely something very unexpected for me.
You captained your country. How
Yep.
cool is that? Your chosen sport, you got to the very top. You just won a Grand Slam, and you captained your country for the first time. You should be incredibly proud of yourself, and we're very proud of you on the WRP, aren't we, Berner?
100%.
I can't remember, but there was one moment, and I just thought that's what they've seen in Sadia. Just cool calmness, and you did something on the pitch. I really annoyed me. I can't remember now. And it was just a tiny little moment, and again, pretty sad. I noticed these things, but it was just a word in somebody's ear, a word in the ref's ear, or there was something. I just thought, yeah, they obviously see some leadership quality in you, and again, what a nice thing to be experiencing. But we will stop your blushes. So it didn't work out in Italy because you got the card, but the results still worked out. What are we made of Italy? Are we not really sort of further down the line in sort of assessing them, Berner? All that contract malarkey before the tournament can't have helped.
Yeah, no, and I think Italy, they came out quite similarly to how they had the last years. I think the other issue is that all the other nations, stepped up their game. So I think actually it's about Italy, kind of, again, feeling like they have that support of the nation, so sort of those contracts out will be really important for them. But also just having a little bit of more of a structure, a little bit more game plan. They have some amazing players, like Dinka, I think, has been incredible. She's always a brilliant winger, but they have Tanisi as well, brilliant second row. It's just about how do they bring that all together. It's similar to the way France play, which is extremely off the cuff, and just how do they reduce those errors? Because when they have the ball and they're in the right spaces, Italy are a hard team to play against. All the teams in Six Nations are a hard team to play against, but they need to start converting that effort into points. And how are they going to do that? That would be my question for Italy. So yeah, I feel for them, because in previous years they've been a really challenging team. I think just this year all the other nations have really stepped up their game.
Yeah, there's talk of them playing some other test matches and potentially some club games as well. I know the Celtic Challenge has been expanded as well, which is really, really good news. With all the rest of the news from around the world, let's catch up with Rory.
I'm Gary Street, and you're listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
Thank you, guys. Great to have you back, Sadia, and congratulations on the Grand Slam. I'm Roy Taylorson from the Weybridge Vandals Valkyries, and here's the rest of the news from around the world. We start in Australia, with Fiji and Adjoa and New South Wales Waratahs battled it out at Ballymore to be champions of the Super Rugby W. It was the Waratahs that took the win in style. 8 tries in the 50 points to 14 victory. Former Harlequins players Belly McKenzie and Caitlin Leaney picking up winners' medals. In South Africa, the Women's Premier Division. Couple of rounds to bring you up to date with. In round 3, Border Ladies thrashed the Sharks, 45-17. EP Queens lost 120-0 to the Bulls. Yes, 120! The Golden Lions went down 5-50 against Bowland, and Western Province won 59-27 against the Free State Women. At the weekend, the Bulls, Daisies and Bowland made it 4 from 4. The Bulls with a 43-5 win over the Sharks, while Bowland got a tight 20-12 victory over the Border Ladies. Free State, the latest side to beat EP Queens, 55-17, while Western Province kept the pressure on the top two by beating Lions 42-0. So the Bulls lead away ahead of Bowland, only on points difference. Western Province on 15 with Border Ladies on 10. Round 5 this weekend, the game of the round has to be Bowland's trip to the Bulls Daisies. Elsewhere, Border and Western Province go head to head. Sharks are at the EP Queens and Lions host the Free State. Over in Singapore, the circus was back in town, and the Black Ferns Sevens side made it 4 titles in a row, beating Australia 31-21 in the final. France beat Fiji to claim 3rd, while Ireland finished 5th and Team GB in 8th. So tight at the top of the table. New Zealand on 126 points, Australia just 2 points behind. Team GB, you'll remember, was close to the relegation position, but now put daylight between them, Japan and Brazil, 39, 34 and 32 points respectively. Here in the UK, the Red Roses have announced test matches against France and New Zealand. They'll face the Six Nations side on the 7th of September at Kingsholm, and the world champions a week later at Twickenham on the 14th. And finally, news from the Celtic Challenge, the 6-team competition with 2 sides from each, Wales, Scotland and Ireland. Returning in December, the extended format will see 10 rounds of home and away fixtures, with the overall winner being determined on a league table standings at the end of the 30-game season. That's all from me, Rory Taylorson, signing off.
There's no time to land softly on your feet after a Six Nations. Straight back into the club game, although you've had little sojourns to other countries and the sunshine, while the rest of us have been getting trench foot here in the UK. Back to League Rugby. PWI is back up and running. Saracens against Sale, 2:30 on Saturday. 3 o'clock, Quins versus Leicester. And Ealing against Exeter on Sunday, 3 o'clock. Loughborough Lightning host Gloucester Hartbury. Straight back in, out of the fire, into the frying pan, hey, Sards?
Yeah, literally straight back in. Obviously playing Gloucester, one of the top 4 teams. So literally straight back into it. But I think, Lightning, we've been building quite nicely this season, and I think we're really looking to finish the season on a high, whether that is on the table. And we've got 2 top 4 teams, Sarries, I think. Oh, Sarries? I don't know. Oh, I don't even know. Christ. Anyway, we've got 2 top 4 teams, Gloucester being one of them, in our next 4 blocks, and I think we're just looking to really put out a great performance against them, and put on what we've been doing on the training field onto the pitch. Obviously, we know it's going to be a tough game. Playing Gloucester is always a tough game. But actually, we found that we've scored the most tries against any team against Gloucester this season. So, really positive thoughts going into this week training and then going into that game. And I think it's quite easy after international block to kind of try and just get through the end of the season, especially if it's not mathematically possible to get into the top four. But I think we're really, trying. Well, no, our aim is not to, fall into that, and Gloucester will be a good first game back.
You got Sarah's in the last round. We've got Quins and looking here,
Ealing, I think.
Yeah, a couple of London clubs in there. How difficult is to switch from from white to African violet? Switch those hats.
It's actually not too difficult, I think, because we have quite a few internationals. It's easy to keep that standard because everyone wants to bring that back to club. And also the Bucks girls and the Cup girls have been working really hard since we've been away. And I think everyone's on the same page, kind of wanting to keep the standard that they've had, whether that's been international, cup, or Bucks, and bring that into the last 4 games. So I think it's made quite easy with the fact that, one, we have quite a few internationals, but 2, the actual work ethic of the rest of the club girls is actually really high.
Let's look at the other fixtures. Saracens against Sale. We must just mention here, though, of course, that Saracens picked up another cup victory, the most successful club in English club history. Beat your Bristol side. Really, really good cup final, actually. It was really, really well played. Plenty of youngsters and sort of emerging players in both teams. Must give a shout out to Sonia Green, Sonic. 329th game that was for Sarah since she played. Just extraordinary. But for her to lift the cup, managed to catch up with her after the game, and that was brilliant. Really, really good crowd. So huge congratulations to Saracens. Bristol on the bye. That's going to give Sarries a real big lift, isn't it? Can you only see one-way traffic against Sale, Berner?
Yeah, I think so. I think also Sarries get all their players back again. Like Sadia said, like when you get all your internationals back, I think what it does is like the mix of having the excitement of players that played in the cup and everyone being back together creates quite a nice environment. And I think Sarries will be on that winning streak. You'll definitely have those England internationals coming back being like, right, let's go and sort this out now. But then I think the same will be happening at Bristol, at Gloucester, at all the top 4 sides. I think this is where you really have to dig in. It's the business end of the season. But I do think that unfortunately for Sale, just with how they ran in for the last few games, I think Sarries will do pretty well against them this weekend.
So predicting that. Quins Leicester, that's a fascinating game, and how they react, both these teams, to a little break. I know, they've been playing various other sort of games and playing against clubs and that kind of stuff to keep the engines ticking over. But real tussle last time they played. That's going to be an interesting one. Where are we going there, ladies? Leicester win or Harlequins home win?
I think I'm going to go over Leicester win, I think I'm going to go over Leicester win. I don't know, I can just look into my crystal ball. And I can see it happening. I think I'm still going Leicester win.
Nice.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I think I am too.
Yeah, Sarah Bern. Yeah, you're going as well, Berner. Oh dear. Oh, we're not going to have many fans from the quarter lot. How about Ealing Exeter?
Yeah, I think Exeter, personally.
Yeah, I'm going to go Exeter too.
They'll have too much for Ealing.
Yeah, although wait, are they a lot of their players, will they be in Pack 4 now? Actually,
well,
yeah, a few
clubs have got different arrangements. So Sophie de Goody's been over there for quite some time. but Lottie Clapp wasn't going until after the cup final, for example. So she only gave for the last 2 games, the Australia and New Zealand games. I don't know what the individual arrangements are with the extra players, but yeah, they may well be without some of them, certainly.
I think if they are without them, I think it will be closer than I think, but I think I still go Exeter.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm with you. And then Loughborough Lightning, Gloucester Hartbury, your prediction on that one, please, Sarah Bern.
Why are you laughing, Johnny?
Because I wasn't laughing, it was more sort of awkward. I know what she's going to say.
Right, yeah.
I'm so sorry, Sadia, but I am going Gloucester Hartbury.
Well,
I mean, they
obviously
got Sarah Beckett back.
Loughborough.
Yeah, they got Zoe Aldcroft back. Yeah, it's going to be.
I'm going Loughborough Lightning.
Enjoyable way.
I'm going
Johnny, I already heard you say you're going Gloucester. Right,
no, I'm changing my mind because I think you're going to catch them cold. They're going to be Six Nations hangovers. Aldcroft, she's still on a hen do. Sam Monaghan's all cock a hoop for being in the World Cup. I think that the eyes won't be on the prize, and Sadia Kabeya, as captain of the country, is going to lead Loughborough Lightning to victory over Gloucester Hartbury. There you are. There's a rallying call. The Doc's annoyed. Yeah, Rachel Malcolm's annoyed. She didn't quite achieve what she wanted in the Six Nations. Loughborough Lightning win. Hard luck, Berner. You're going to lose. Because it is tight at the top, isn't it? Gloucester Hartbury out of 64. They don't need to win. Sarac's on 50. Exeter 47. Bristol 46. And then you guys, Loughborough on 27. Still mathematically possible, isn't it? Yeah, it's still mathematically possible to get in the top 4, but Bristol would have to do you a lot of favours. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen. But yeah, we're going for a Loughborough Lightning, Sadia and Sarah Bern's going for Gloucester Hartbury. Ladies, let's just finish up with a couple of little shout-outs.
Sarah's got 5 tries over the cup game against Bristol and winning 37-17. So fair play to them. Well done. And congratulations on winning the cup this year.
And the great Portswoman Woodman Whitcliffe has broken yet another record with the Blackfern Sevens team, scoring her 250th try. So congratulations to her too.
There's no more decorated rugby player. Certainly in women's rugby. Yeah, extraordinary. Olive Kelter, we should give a shout out as well. She's got 1,000 points for her country. We must just give a shout out to our fantasy leagues. Sarsoy won the WRP Fantasy League. Well done to her. In second place is Sarah. Was it you, Berner?
It was not me.
No, it wasn't you. But in third, this could be a player, Sham Monaghan. Whether that's somebody being very funny. But yeah, no, congratulations.
That could be Mo. Mo pretending to be Sam Monaghan.
Yeah, it could be. But there you are. Sarsoy, Sarah and Sham. Congratulations on top 3 in the Fantasy League. Yeah, I'm not going to say where I ended up because that's just slightly embarrassing for a bloke who's supposed to know what he's talking about. And the other thing to let you know, Gary Street is doing some really, really good stuff. He's been baking, been making some scones and stuff, which all just, really great movement for him. But the next thing we're organising the 15th of May at the Cabbage Patch. Nick Heath, who many of you will know, he's doing one of his pub quizzes on the 15th of May at the Cabbage Patch. Get involved in that. Have a look on the socials. We'll be posting about that on Nick's socials as well. But I can say, Tuesday morning, just absolutely joyous to see you both. Bern, it's been hilarious hearing you sort of gravel your way through the pod. And Sadia, just great to have your smile and your energy. And yeah, we, as I said before, and I genuinely mean it, could not be more proud of your efforts to Six Nations. You've been ace.
Thanks.
See you next week.
See you later.
See you next week.
Bye.